More and more people are discovering the unconditional love that comes with having a dog in their family. The terms fur babies and furry children are common in everyday language. However, this love and devotion, coupled with positive training techniques, has seen an incredible number of dogs commuting from the home to the office on a daily basis. Dogs have held jobs for centuries, helping humans in a variety of roles. But the tasks achieved by our talented pooches and their dedicated trainers are becoming even more remarkable. Working dogs come from all backgrounds and are found in every corner of the globe, from the hot Australian outback to the snowfields of North America. Every dog has a job, whether it's out on the beat or fetching a ball. Every year, on a small island off the southern coast of Australia, something special happens. Tiny penguins come safely ashore to nest and raise their young, a feat only made possible by these girls. Sisters Judy and Tula are the resident guardian dogs of Middle Island in Warrnambool, watching over the little penguins to ensure foxes and other wild predators don't harm their furry friends.
Essentially, their presence up here on the island deters the foxes from coming across altogether. You know, if you think about a little penguin, it's the smallest penguin species in the world. They can't fly, they've got small little legs, so they can't really run away, so really, really vulnerable to land predators. And so foxes started to hunt over here, and within a very short amount of time, absolutely decimated the population. So 2005, we had only 4 penguins left here on Middle Island. Really devastating impact.
Mel Wells manages the Middle Island Marama Penguin Project, conducting research, keeping track of the penguins and caring for the dogs, all with great success.
Our population at the moment for this summer has been around about 250 to 280, which is incredible. From 10 years ago, it's gone to almost nothing to, 250, so it's pretty good.
Traditionally used as livestock guardians, the idea to use Maramas to protect the colony first came from a local farmer who ran Maramas on his farm to protect his free-range chickens.
It was said penguins are basically just, chickens wearing fancy dinner suits. So, if you can train these dogs to bond with a chicken, a flightless bird, then why can't you train them to bond with a penguin? So that was about 10 years ago when it all started, when the first dog came out here for the initial trial, and it's been a huge success.
These chucks in dinner suits could hardly be in better paws. Maramas are known for their natural protective instincts, and once they establish a bond to their space, good luck to anyone or anything that's seen as a threat.
We do still have a lot of foxes around, and the dogs are doing a fantastic job of keeping them off. There's been footprints very close to the island, but they don't actually set foot on the island. They haven't had any since the beginning of the project.
They've got a really loud, deep, aggressive sounding bark, and normally that's enough to scare away whatever it is. So things like boats, when the boats leave the harbour and go past, they go crazy at them, get away from my space, don't come here.
Just like most workers, Judy and Tula have shifts, working around 5 days a week on the island and spending their downtime on a local farm. So impressive is their presence that even when they're not on the island, no penguins are attacked. Which is great, because getting to and from work is part of the fun.
We walk and or swim through the water, basically, to get them across here. Yeah, we just go straight through the water. The dogs love it. They've been doing it since they were young, and that's all they know.
Doggy paddle has never been so practical. The environment is a dynamic one, with swells dumping or dredging sand from the bay and changing how accessible it is to come ashore.
There's a safe way, I guess, or there's a shallower way, and then there's a way that the dogs want to go. The dogs tend to like to go straight across, which can be a little bit deeper sometimes. They know this whole area when you're driving down in the car with them, and you get out of the car and they're just straight for the island, and they're always very, very happy to come here.
Having a good sense of the area is key to their protective nature and forms a large part of their training. Being a world first to pair Maramas with penguins has meant a lot of initial unknowns, but the teams have been able to teach the sisters well.
When they're over here on the island, they know that this is working mode, protective mode, that this is very well established as their territory and straight into patrolling the area. When we'll do our nest checks, we'll walk the dogs around with us, so that familiarisation continues with the penguins. And basically what we want is that when we get a penguin out, or when there's a penguin walking around, we don't want the dogs to have any kind of reaction at all, and that's ideal. When they were pups, it was just about getting them used to them. So exposing them to the penguins and positively reinforcing the behaviour that we want to see.
When Yudi and Tula are on the island by themselves, the most effective means of keeping them there is for them to patrol the boardwalk. Mel therefore makes sure the familiarisation process is ongoing and ensures they keep their territory well established.
Every couple of days when they're here, we actually do take them off and we take them for a walk, just to give them a little bit of exercise and also so they just reinforce that this is their territory. We take them across and they do all their smells, they drop their scent everywhere, and they just make sure that, you know, nothing that doesn't belong here is not a part of, is coming into their space.
Performing their guardian jobs is vital for Mel and the team of volunteers to be able to do theirs. Monitoring the little penguins is important to understanding the population as a whole and measuring breeding success.
What we were just doing was we were checking all the nests and we put our hands in, pull out the penguin and we check if it's been microchipped. And if it hasn't been microchipped, which those ones weren't because they were chicks, we insert the microchip into a bit of fat in the back of their neck. So we have had ethics training and approval to get that done. And then that microchip basically is an identification tag. So it's the same microchips that cats and dogs have. And that's just a way next year when we come back, we'll scan them and we'll know if those chicks are returning to the colony, who they're nesting with, and this kind of thing. And so we'll follow their breeding success over the years.
Mel has also developed a very unique way of getting to some of the more sensitive nests.
I was in Canada at a museum for snow exploration and they had this picture of these early snowshoes, which were basically tennis rackets. And I thought, that's an excellent idea. So it's a way of distributing our weight on top of the ground to avoid nesting burrow collapse, and it works a dream. It just looks really funny.
The results speak for themselves and the dogs have become famous in their own right. So famous, in fact, they've even had a movie made about their wonderful penguin protection role. While Oddball started the tradition, Yudi and Tula have clocked up more than 6 years on the job. Yudi and Tula's legacy speaks for itself. As Oddball did for them, they too have created magnificent paw prints for the next generation to follow.
We've got 2 pups at the moment. It's a very exciting time. It's also a very nervous time. Our 2 older dogs at the moment, they're 8 years old, so they've been working for 6 years now, so we certainly do want to retire them within the next couple of years.
When it comes to a job well done, these penguin protection pooches have the love and appreciation of their entire community. And when they do finally retire, they'll leave some very big paws to fill. In a small corner of the southwest of Western Australia is a little town that's big on dogs.
Bridgetown is a super dog-friendly town. Everyone in Bridgetown owns a dog. When I first moved here, I met so many people through Molly because I'd walk down the street with her and people would stop and talk to Molly before they'd talk to me.
Molly works with Jenny, and when it comes to job conditions, Molly has this deal well sewn up.
My shop is a vintage shop. It sells all sorts of goodies, largely sourced from local people. So it's furniture, it's homewares, it's collectibles, it's retro, it's all sorts of quirky stuff. She comes to work with me every day. She sits at the door and welcomes people, usually gives kisses. She's the most chilled dog you could ever find. She's very relaxed, very calm, quite a zen little dog actually. Everyone comments on that when they come in. She's just a friendly part of the vibe of the shop actually and makes people feel at home.
It's a big day for Molly, making sure the store is in order, welcoming customers, which is really about just how much attention she can get. Followed by a luscious afternoon snooze, but Molly's work isn't just about shop life.
I've renovated an old church just close into town here. When we first came, she was very mindful of activity, I guess you would say, in the house. I didn't actually see ghosts or anything, but things moved and there was some areas that felt really, really cold. I'm assuming she saw stuff that I didn't see, so she would really stare and often growl, bark, not settle, just keep going back to that same spot. Yeah, she didn't want it there. So I had someone come in and sort of clear all those portals, if you like to call them that. I still get a bit of activity, but I know who they are and they're very friendly and they're just kind of saying, hi, I know you know, we're sharing it together, that's cool. And Molly doesn't mind them, so that's a good sign for me that they're fine.
Whilst Molly enjoys a rather indulgent and somewhat mystical lifestyle, it's not been an easy ride for this glamorous pooch.
She's got a really mad spine. That's nothing that can be operated on. She's got too many places that are squiggly and bad, just messy. So just to keep her as strong as she can be and as flexible as she can be, every month I take her for a therapy session with my vet, and she's on Chinese herbs all the time. We discovered the back issue about 5 years ago, and we nearly lost her then because she was pretty much paralysed.
What had happened is that one of the discs in her spine had prolapsed and was pushing on her spinal cord, so effectively cutting off the energy flow to the spinal cord there and causing the paralysis. So the discs are, you can see they're represented here by these little blobs. They're jelly-like areas in between the vertebrae, and they act as shock absorbers. But they don't have a blood supply on their own, so the only way that they can be effective shock absorbers is for the spine to be moving properly. And if the spine's moving properly, the blood diffuses in, and then they can act as beautiful shock absorbers. In Molly's case, what I did was a mixture of therapies, some soft tissue therapy to release the muscles around the area, some acupuncture, some electroacupuncture, and she also had some herbs a little bit later. And with all of that, we were able to relieve the pain and then get her to be functional again.
Molly now has a maintenance programme to make sure her spine is moving properly and that those discs are well nourished, just to nip any problems in the bud.
I do a mixture of Bowen therapy, trigger point work, positional release, and today I did a little bit of laser work on her as well, and some joint mobilisations with little glides to help move things and get them working as they should.
She totally laps up her sessions with Dr. Felicity, who wouldn't love a full body massage. But it's probably the little treats of hot-cooked chicken that really make this the best therapy ever.
Miss Molly. So Molly is a very determined young lady, which is probably how she got through in the first place. There have been times where she hasn't been so keen on having treatments done, particularly when she was very, very sore, but she's come to a compromise and she's relatively happy to be worked on these days, as long as we don't take too long and as long as we have plenty of treats. Good girl. There are a variety of alternative and complementary therapies available now for dogs, and the reason that they've come into play is that with Western medicine we are pretty limited. You know, we do great things with surgery and we do what we can with drugs, and most conditions respond beautifully to those, but there are a proportion of conditions that don't respond particularly well to Western medicine, and this is where alternative therapies come into their own.
For 10-year-old Molly, she's more than happy with her treatment and knows her mum Jenny will always have her best interests at heart. After all, she has a very important job that needs her attention.
She's been really good as long as we just keep that every month, that treatment, and I'm sort of careful about what she does. She's great. In terms of being a perfect employee, Molly is fantastic. She's got perfect personality for in here. She's very friendly, very open, very welcoming. I just think she's just got a beautiful spirit about her, you know. She's very calm. I think her calmness is her thing.
To be a hero requires many amazing qualities: courage, commitment, a big heart, and in this case, a wonderful desire to help others.
Our Hooch is kind and gentle and so lovable. He just loves to be around people, loves other dogs, just kind of wants to be with people all the time. And the softest, kindest heart and eyes, and you'd never know he had a bad day in his whole life. His spirit is very stoic and proud, and we can all learn a little bit about ourselves from such a kind dog.
This big, lovable bloke has turned a rough start in life into one where giving back means everything, all through the help of a few very special friends.
So my boyfriend is the executive director and founder of Marley's Mutts Dog Rescue. Hooch was brought to his attention by the Kern County Animal Control that they had this emaciated French Mastiff that He couldn't figure out what was going on. He was kind of moving his food around and water around, couldn't keep anything down.
We pulled him out of the shelter and went into the play yard, and I could tell something was different about his mouth, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. We took him to San Joaquin Veterinary Hospital to have x-rays. We just thought something was maybe wrong with his jaw because it looked a little wonky.
The vet went in to do x-rays and went to put a tube in his mouth and realized that he has no tongue. The vet believes that somebody actually cut it out at the base of his tongue. He had freshly cropped ears and a broken tail and was about 35 pounds underweight.
Gruesome, impossible to believe. But in Zach's care, this was now a turning point for Hooch. After realising he had no tongue, the veterinary team tried to put a feeding tube into Hooch's throat to get the much-needed nutrients he needed as quickly as possible into his system until they figured out the best way for Hooch to eat. But Hooch kept yanking the tube out.
So Zach started to just wet his food down and then slip it in the back of his throat so it'd be soft kibble. And so now Hooch just sits there with his mouth open and you can just slip it in the back of his throat and he swallows it.
Because he can't chew, we kind of have to pulverize it for him. The key is to try and get it all the way in the back, and then he does a couple little chews, and then you can see his neck kind of flex and take it down. And this is what we do every morning.
So now he is 90 pounds. He was 45 pounds when found. So now he's a big, healthy boy and no problems with eating and keeping it down.
Healthy, happy and loved, Hooch was keen to make it his mission to help others.
Since our boy acts like he's never had a bad day in his life, he is able to touch everyone's life that comes into contact with him. I've never met anybody that didn't like him. He goes into schools where Marley's Mutts does different programs. He goes into the Mission at Kern County, which is an organization that helps women in recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. Goes in and works with them. He works with autistic children. There was actually a little boy who said Hooch for his first word. So that was pretty special.
This down-to-earth, ready-to-help anyone, endearing, trusting French Mastiff has proven he can take whatever comes his way in true Superdog style.
So Hooch was nominated for the American Humane Hero Dog Award. And he won his category, Emerging Hero Dog, and we went to the Hero Dog Awards in Beverly Hills, and he took the whole thing. He won, I believe there was 6 other dogs, and he won the whole award.
The American Humane Hero Dog Awards is a prestigious annual event, so much so that it's broadcast for both 2- and 4-legged friends on Hallmark Channel. It's a showcase that proudly acknowledges amazing heroes on both ends of the leash. Known for their commitment to the safety and well-being of animals, American Humane nurtures the bond between animals and humans beyond the Hero Dog Awards, recognising the beneficial relationship between dogs and their humans in all walks of life. But these awards certainly highlight how remarkable dogs can be.
He's become this media star, to be honest. We were in a giant parade in our hometown of Bakersfield, and we thought it was just this small thing, and we get there and there's probably about 200,000 people, and we had a giant float and everybody was just screaming Hooch, 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 and it was really great. It's been really good for Hooch, bringing awareness to what's happened to him and his light that he's shining on the world, and then also to Marley's Mutts, the organization that's doing so many amazing things.
Much like Hooch, Zach was once in need of a special friend to be by his side.
Zach founded Marley's Mutts about 8 years ago now. He was in end-stage liver disease, or liver failure rather, and was given a 80% chance of dying if he didn't have a liver transplant. So the doctor sent him home and said, you have to be sober for 6 months. Went home, he struggled for a long time, and eventually started to heal himself. His dogs, Marley and Tug, were right there by his side every single day. Zach was dealing with suicidal thoughts, thought he was just an awful human being, had nothing to live for. The dogs got him out of bed every day. They got him to think that he was worth it. They demanded that he walk them. So he just started to walk them and started to volunteer with the ASPCA, which made him notice that nobody was handling the hard cases. No one was taking the big bully breeds. People were just, coming to get the little fluffy dogs, and these larger breeds had no chance. So he started to rescue them, foster them, find them homes. He would write these really funny stories about the dogs and put flyers up around town. And so it just started growing from there. And now he has an organization where he has 8 employees. They have about 600 followers on Facebook. And it's just become this phenomenon. People are diehard Marley's Mutts fans, and they're just growing.
Whilst many people across the world already know the joy a dog can bring to their lives, many more are discovering just how wonderful this can be. Some even taking the next step into the 4-legged workforce with their beloved Hooch. And whilst there's a wide variety of roles for dogs, it seems nearly everyone who owns an incredible dog could easily list Hero as one of their jobs. Puppy love is a two-way street. It's true a dog's love is unconditional, but humans also have so much love to give their furry best friend. Hooch has never looked back under the care of Zach and Heather, and has proven to be an award-winning hero. Molly is one of the most unique characters with a busy life, greeting customers for her mum. It's a dog's life, with a lot of human love to get them to the top of their job. Having to appear in a courtroom can be stressful for anyone. It can be a very emotional time for children and parents alike. The Tauranga District Court has introduced a novel way to support young victims and witnesses through the stress and trauma of appearing in court. Introducing Louie, the courthouse dog, a black Labrador that's got one of the most important jobs in New Zealand.
My job is to ensure that victims are kept up to date with what's happening with the defendant as they come through court. So that includes things like updating the victim on the defendant's next appearance in court, or their remand status. Are they in custody? Are they in the community?
The whole team at the court are behind Louie and the brilliant job he does through some of the most difficult cases.
The idea for Louie came last year. We had a trial which involved 2 young victims aged 8 and 9. They came and had a look at the court prior to the trial, and they were extremely anxious. They were in tears even at that stage, so I was concerned as to how they'd actually get through the trial. I rang the detective, the officer in charge of the case, and said, look, can you just find out if those girls, do they like dogs? She went back to the family, found they love dogs.
A Labrador is perfect for this role. Louie loves to be cuddled, which is top of the list on the CV of any courtroom dog. Louie can't get enough of it, and neither can his clients.
Prior to the children coming to court, they meet with myself and the Crown Prosecutor, and then on the day of court, they come in here. Gail is here with Louie, get shown around the courtroom, and then we go and sit in the Crown room, and that's where they meet Louie. They sit down, they pet Louie, and he's just there to comfort them and keep them calm and just distract them.
He's absolutely perfect. He kept them calm. He stayed with them for the time while they were waiting before they went to give their evidence. And it just had an incredible effect on them and keeping them occupied. The surprising thing, really, the effect that he had on calming the whole family.
Louie takes it all in his stride.
Louie is a big star around here. Everyone loves him. The lawyers, whenever Louie is walking along the corridors, they'll all stop and say hello to Louie. The police, of course, they ring me and ask if Louie can be brought in for a particular trial. So he's really, by appointment. The rest of the registry staff and the judges as well, they love to see Louie here, and everyone stops to have a chat with him. When I put Louie's jacket on, he knows that means business. He understands then that he's going to be going in to be working with some children.
After a big day at the court, Louie can't wait to hang out with his friends Inca and Poppy, who relish any opportunity to chase each other around the garden.
After work, Louis will come home with me, where we have 2 other dogs, 2 German short-haired pointers. He'll just be living the life of luxury on the sofa and going for lovely walks. Louis is the first caught dog in New Zealand, so at the moment we're assessing how that's going. So I keep the ministry updated on what happens each time Louis is working with a trial. And the hope is in the future we'll have more dogs throughout New Zealand. Everyone wants to know what he's doing. So, I find myself explaining what he does here quite a lot. But he absolutely loves it.
Golf is played on manicured courses around the world and enjoyed by people as a brilliant way to spend a few hours of the day relaxing. But what happens when that ball that you thought had landed in the rough can't be found? There's a perfectly logical explanation for those disappearing golf balls. Dogs with a predisposition for collecting golf balls are lurking.
We've found 1,000 golf balls altogether, so I've sold 2 lots of 600 and 400 golf balls at this stage. Lucy's been the only reason why I found that many. I wouldn't be walking around in the bush at the golf course if Lucy wasn't with me. When she goes eventually, that'll be the end of my golf ball career as well. We've had her for 17 years and she was basically a rescue dog because the breeder was going to put her down. In her younger years she had a lot more energy, of course, certainly been a big part of the family. Retrievers are very affectionate dogs. They aren't aggressive, they're quite intelligent. Lucy epitomises all that.
Lucy has been a professional golf ball collector for years. You wouldn't know it looking at her now, but in her prime, she would collect golf balls left behind by keen golfers that couldn't find the balls in the rough. Originally bred to retrieve waterfowl, golden retrievers like Lucy have an uncanny ability to hunt down golf balls. Lucy is coming to the end of her golf ball collecting career, but now the baton has been passed on to Mootsie, the Maltese Shih Tzu. Mootsie has been known to steal the occasional ball that's still in play.
With golf balls, we've been walking across a few golf courses at various times, and Mootsie has seen the ball flying past and then run off after the ball and stolen the poor guy who's playing golf's ball, and that's been the end of his game. We try and disappear off the golf course as quickly as possible when that happens. He loves to play chasey, whether he's chasing someone or someone's chasing him. His favourite game is for us to throw balls for him. He insists on that regularly.
Both dogs have quite different philosophies on golf ball collecting. Lucy believes there's no rush to find those elusive balls, while Mootsie has a different approach and believes there's no time to waste. Every ball counts. Mootsie takes prime position on one of the hills overlooking the golf course and watches where the golf balls are being hit around the dog legs, scanning for a stray ball.
He has so much energy to burn, and so he just, anything that bounces and moves quickly, he'll be off and after it. We have 3 boys in our family, 4 if you include Mootsie. When we take him for a walk to the pub, we have to take the balls with us and throw the balls repetitively for him, and then he'll bring them back to us and we throw again. I think he's played a really important role in teaching our kids how to be kind and caring, and Mootsie is very good at setting boundaries for the kids.
While Lucy and Mootsie might never make it to the international golf circuit, it's good to know that they're out there finding all those lost balls in the rough.
Just keeping her outside has been, I think, one of the reasons why she's lived for so long. A lot of people have dogs and they come and they go. It'll be very hard to replace Lucy because she's just been such a wonderful girl.
In looking out for the welfare of the local animal population for over a century, the team at the San Diego Humane Society have a first-hand view of how dogs and people can share a special bond. The starting point where dogs can unleash their own brand of therapeutic powers.
Every year we see probably about 8,000 to 10,000 dogs alone at San Diego Humane Society. Dogs that are rescued from cruelty or neglectful situations that are relinquished to us because their owners could no longer take care of them or afford them, or if there's a behavior issue that they are challenged with, then they end up relinquishing dogs into our care and we place them into new homes. I find most often the dogs select the people more so than the other way around. People are really driven when they feel that connection with an animal. They come in to adopt a dog and meet them for the first time. People tend to know when they make that match.
That connection between a dog and its new owner is very real. But it's the innate ability of certain dogs to connect with people generally that led to the formation of a very special canine task force.
Pet-assisted therapy is a really special program to us because we don't often think about the people who are in situations where they can't have animals themselves and what that must be like for them. And oftentimes those people are in situations where they really could use the joy of an animal companionship. So we bring animals to facilities throughout our community. We go to senior centers and juvenile detention centers, children's centers, to bring animals twice a day, every day of the week, so that they can experience that joy of animal interaction. And we take out dogs, but in addition to dogs, we bring bunnies and guinea pigs and rats to just interact with these people, and we find that it's really rewarding for the people who are getting that interaction, but it's also rewarding for the animals who need that job.
The Pet Assisted Therapy Programme has been unlocking the potential of dogs to help restore, rebuild and reconnect the most vulnerable people. And for the dogs, it's more than a job, it's a calling.
On the days that we volunteer, Penny knows. Because when she gets up after breakfast, she sees I get my apron on and she puts her little vest on, and we know we're volunteering. She probably doesn't know that word, but she understands it's going to be a fun time. It's interesting too, afterwards she's tired. So I guess that's all part of being a working dog.
It's full circle for Penny. She's a successful graduate of the Pat Dog Programme, giving back to the community.
I found Penny at the Humane Society. So she was a rescue, 2 years old. So she and I enrolled in classes. One of the instructors told me, she said she's very calm, she would be good for it.
The dogs really love volunteering. All of our volunteers are tested for this program, so we want to make sure that we find volunteer animals that enjoy the role, that show us with their body language that they actually enjoy meeting people and seek out that attention from people. They leave here with wagging tails and smiling faces, so we really hope that they enjoy the work as much as the clients enjoy getting to meet them.
For Programme Coordinator Laura Leonard, there's nothing quite so satisfying as identifying the right dogs for the job and watching them work their magic.
What I enjoy the most about our program is seeing the people that we visit get to relive memories of their past. We find that at a lot of the sites we visit where people have memory issues like dementia or Alzheimer's, that they actually go back and they can remember having a dog of their own in the past.
A visit to a care facility with Penny the Shepherd Basset Hound and her colleague Charity the German Shepherd is a lesson in poise under the spotlight. These two are superstars.
Well, I used to have dogs, so I enjoy them. I would like to see them every day, yes. And of course the German Shepherd is my favorite dog. Yes. And this is a good one too, by the way. I'm a dog lover, I really am. I love dogs. It's a great feeling to have a dog here. Yes, it is.
They both have different personalities, but they make such a big impact. I think for Charity, everyone really recognizes her breed. She's the German Shepherd. That brings back a lot of memories for individuals that we visit. Maybe they had a German Shepherd before, or seen one in a movie. She shows off her tricks, which is really fun to watch. And she's just a really engaging dog to get to spend time with.
These dogs are very job-oriented, so she knows that it's her job to be friendly to everybody. And she's normally a very friendly dog, but I've noticed that the longer we do this, the better she is at it. So at first she was a little bewildered, but now she's very sure of what she's supposed to do, and she really enjoys doing her job.
Penny is such a special dog. She is so cute. She's a really unique looking dog, and I think most people haven't seen a dog like her before, so it's really exciting for them to get to meet her. And she and Irene are just such a great team. To see their relationship together and how she sits in a chair and talks to her, it's really something special to see, and they both make a really big impact on our clients.
Some things they would say to them, they don't say to us, which is kind of nice. I've seen them just pet Penny's ears and just be talking about their animals, their cat, their favorite bird, whatever. And I'm like not there. It's just between them and Penny. That's special.
Dogs have a way of bringing joy to people's lives that I think no other animal can. It's really unique to dogs in particular. So we really look for dogs who can remain calm and not get overly excited when meeting people, but that really get a joy themselves from meeting lots of different people and interacting with them. And I think dogs have a way of sensing what people need at a certain time. So they have a way of really reading humans and adapting to people and meeting their needs. So the dog volunteers of the Pet Assisted Therapy program are really unique and special and add a lot to the program and to our community.
Top dogs doing top jobs. You won't find more noble and attentive workers than Charity and Penny.
Who else is going to listen? Penny is all there.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Diabetes is a serious condition which can lead to short and long-term health complications in the body.
I have type 1 insulin-dependent diabetes. I also have a potentially life-threatening medical condition called hypoglycemia unawareness. That's when I am unable to tell when my blood sugars are becoming unstable and when my blood sugars start to go low.
Luckily, Pause for Diabetics provided Winston the Whippet, who's a diabetes alert dog that has literally changed Kayleen's life. She calls him her lifesaver.
I had arrived at the airport to pick my Winston up, and unbeknown to me, I was having a hypo. As soon as I took Winston from the puppy crate, he alerted me to that hypo, and he saved my life. Winston will alert me by whimpering, pawing at me, licking my hand.
Winston is always by Kayleen's side and alerts her whenever he senses Kayleen's blood sugar levels are dangerously low.
Winston did such a wonderful job. He's now known by everybody at the hospital as Winston the Wonder Whippet or Dr. or Professor Winston.
Winston even has his own Facebook page, which he regularly needs to update with photo sessions to capture his best side.
Winston's quite an interesting character to photograph because he's not a domestic pet, he has a job. So when he's in his coat, he's been trained that that's when he's in, I guess, sensing mode for Kayleen to read her blood sugar levels. So when he's in his coat, I can't actually interact with him the way I would a normal dog. I can't give him treats, even talking to him too much or distracting him from what he's doing, using toys as well to get his attention. I have to completely just let him free rein and do whatever he wants.
When his jacket's off, Winston can relax, and Alex is then able to use her regular doggy temptations and tricks to get Winston to smile for the camera.
When his jacket's off, he knows that that's like playtime and relax time, so then I can actually do all those things with the toys and treats. And I noticed too a big shift in his body language, I guess, between the two, because when he's in his job mode, he's really focused, and when he's not, he's just happy to be more aware of his surroundings and people in them as well. I photograph lots of different working dogs, especially dogs who have jobs for different organisations, and I really pay attention to what the owners are telling me in those situations. So, like Kayleen's instance with Winston, I have a briefing with her first and I ask what's okay boundary-wise. Don't want to do anything that undoes any of his training or distracts him from the job he's doing, constantly checking on her. That I don't want to be something that breaks that up and affects his response if she needs to know that something's happening with her body.
How do you choose which is the best image when they're all brilliant? Winston knows how to show his best angles. With these good looks, he's bound to make the cover of Whip It Monthly. Brenda also has diabetes and works in a hospital which used to be challenging for her while she was on shift, until she heard about diabetes alert dogs.
My endocrinology consultant, Professor Jim Mann, who's British, is aware of working dogs overseas and put the idea into my head.
Brenda came to see me probably about 9 or 10 months ago, so probably 3 or 4 months before she knew that the dog was going to be available, to see if she could have the dog working with her, alongside her within the hospital. At that point we did want to support Brenda with that, but as you can appreciate, having a working dog in a hospital environment is a little bit different to your normal workplace. So we had to go through a number of steps to make sure that that was going to be the right thing to do for our patients as well as for Brenda.
While Brenda works on the ward, Pip the Labrador has his special doggy bed close by, where he keeps his roving eye on her as she attends to her patients.
For a nurse, I'm taking patients' odds, doing the medications, changing their ulcer dressings, wounds, etc., taking out stitches, heating IV fluids, a lot of documentation, oh my goodness me, a lot. Lots of comfort, reassurance, support for patients going through procedures.
With the help of over 200 million scent receptors in his nose, Pip will alert Brenda when he senses that her blood sugar levels are getting dangerously low and she needs attention.
I've been a type 1 diabetic for most of my life. I'm having to rely on other people to sort me out when I'm having a low blood sugar. It happens very frequently and I have no warning signs whatsoever. Pip's been a life changer for me. He's the most amazing dog to alert me when my low blood sugars. I can now sort myself out, having to not rely on other people, friends, family, workmates to do this for me. He alerts me to my dropping blood sugar levels by continuously annoying me at home. He's jumping on me, alerting me with his paw, his nose. He's constantly at me all the time, so I know, heck, I'm low, I can sort myself out. Whereas at work, he's in his bed, he'll stand up, and with me walking past all the time or staff members, they can see that I'm low. But it's normally me that sorts myself out at work.
Thanks to Assistant Dogs New Zealand, Brenda is able to stay at work with the knowledge that Pip is looking out for her, while she looks after others. From Spaniels to Labradors and Kelpies to Collies, there's no doubt the connection and bond between dogs and their owners is incredible. Looking after humans is certainly one of the top jobs for dogs. Their love and devotion is second to none. Louis the courthouse dog has an incredibly important role helping children to feel safe. Then, if you've lost a golf ball or two, maybe the canine troops have snaffled them away in the name of fun. Then there's those dogs who love nothing more than all the attention and love they receive in their role of helping to brighten the day of those who can no longer take responsibility for their own wonderful hound. Swimming to work, then spending your day protecting little penguins is an ideal job for Marimers. These dogs are a remarkable breed that have proved to be trustworthy guardians of a variety of animals, including chickens, sheep, and of course, fairy penguins. To be a dog at the top of their job is not a one-size-fits-all scenario. The field is broad both in breeds and the roles. This series has explored a wide variety of dogs in many rewarding, skillful, and sometimes unusual jobs. But the common thread is a human who loves them, which of course means a whole lot of love in return. Top Jobs for Dogs showcases the remarkable, the amazing, and the truly wonderful furry friends who give so much because they truly are your best friend.